This is the Khmer Times News. My name is Paolo Bonini, and these are your headlines. A grenade attack on a casino sees 3 arrested. Rapists run wild, and these stories will shock you. And Cambodia exports $1 billion of something rather unexpected. But firstly, it's our headline story. And what makes this our headline story is its brazen use of violence. A few days ago, this was the headline that we ran here at the Khmer Times. It said, "Gang sought after throwing grenade at security guard." Now, that to me is exceedingly shocking. To think that a group of men would be so angered by either the casino or the guard, they would throw a grenade at casino security. One must remember, hand grenades are fragmentation devices that are designed to splinter into multiple small jagged pieces of metal to create a wide radius of carnage. They are truly horrifying pieces of kit. And if that was not enough, the 3 men involved also opened fire with handguns. The guard himself seemed to be blessed by the gods, as the grenade did not go off, and the only bullet to hit him left him wounded in his arm. This outrageous incident took place at a casino in Kandal province, and quite remarkably, it happened in broad daylight at 1 p.m. 2 motorcyclists were spotted in front of the casino, and they were caught on CCTV cameras. Specialized forces were called in, and this week, these 3 men were arrested for this brazen attack. It is remarkable to think that this was so violent. It's the kind of attack that one would expect from terrorist extremists. As to why they targeted the guard is not yet known. But what is known is they now will have to face a judge and will have an awful lot of explaining to do. I do, in fact, have some breaking news for you on that last story. It is now being stated that the attack on the casino was not aimed at the guard himself, but at the casino. It seems the attackers had an ongoing business dispute with the owner of the Diamond Rock Casino, and they felt that this assault would in some way intimidate the casino owner. The grenade itself failed to explode, but it did blow up in the attackers' faces, as the 3 men arrested have now all been charged with attempted murder, and all are looking at lengthy prison sentences. In this week's Crime Desk's Rapes Most Vile, a little girl is murdered because she knew too much, and a military officer beats up young boys, but even he admits he got it all wrong. One of the most appalling crimes that is committed within society is rape. The effects on a woman being raped are absolutely devastating. And for nearly all the victims, the horrors of their nightmares stay with them for the rest of their lives. And so very sadly, it is not unusual for victims of rape to take their own lives, as they can never relieve themselves of the horrifying trauma that haunts them every single day. 2 men were arrested for rapes, and their crimes are particularly vile. The first to be charged is this man. He is Duch Lee, who raped a girl in the countryside one afternoon last week. The girl who he assaulted was just 10 years old. This horrifying crime came to light when officials of the Vale Vang district received a complaint from the father of the young girl, and it was soon after that Duch Lee was arrested. It is alleged that he took the girl to a local pond, and it was there he raped her. He is now under arrest. In our second incident of rape this week, this man, named Povbori, has been detained after he is alleged to have raped a woman who was 86 years old. I will say that again. She was 86 years old. This rape is said to have occurred when the assailant spotted the old lady alone in a field, burning charcoal. He approached her, and it was then he forced her to the ground and he brutally raped her. When he had left, she immediately reported the incident to the local police, and the assailant was soon arrested. He is also now awaiting a court date. Unfortunately, there is yet another horrifying incident involving a small child that made headlines this week, when police confirmed that they have arrested a 38-year-old male named Min Ra, a resident of Battambang province. He was taken into custody for the brutal murder of a girl who was just 10 years old. And the reason he murdered this girl is almost unbelievable. Now, the details of his crime are rather scant at this time, but I felt this newsworthy as the barbarity that this man showed is almost off the scale. You see, Mr. Ra was having an affair with a local woman. He had been doing so for some time. And, of course, he did not want his wife knowing of his extramarital romance. But despite his attempts to keep his love affair secret, someone did notice. That person was called Nonti, and she was the murdered 10-year-old girl. It seems the little girl mentioned to Mr. Ra that she had noticed him with another woman, and Mr. Ra could see only one way of keeping his secret safe, and that was to kill the little girl. And if you think this story could not get any worse, then you are wrong, as the 10-year-old that he murdered was his own niece. The suspect has confessed to the crime, and he now awaits a trial date. I've got to tell you, sometimes my job is a little tougher than I feel, as those last 3 crimes were truly shocking. But what we do have now is one last picture to show you of a man with a blurry face, and it is this guy. And behind the blur is Royal Cambodian Armed Forces Lieutenant Colonel Tang Su Un. And he, as well as 2 of his employees, have been arrested for beating up 3 young teenage boys. The boys themselves claim they were knocked off their motorcycle by a car, and the lieutenant colonel and his associates jumped out of the car, tied the boys up, and then set about them with fists flying. The boys themselves claim they had gone out at 12 p.m. to buy fried rice at a shop near the petrol station, which was owned by the army officer. The reason they were beaten up, they were to learn, was the army officer believed they had been setting off firecrackers near his petrol station. Oddly, after beating the boys, the officers then listened to them, and he believed they were in fact not involved with setting off fireworks. But he did tell the young lads not to inform the police, claiming it was all a misunderstanding, and he was confused about who the culprits were. But needless to say, the boys did the complete opposite, as is their right legally, and they informed the police. They are now seeking $10,000 in damages for the violent assault. Okay, let's go out on some good news. When I read this following headline, I was honestly very surprised. I read the headline and said to myself, who would have guessed it? But those of you with a keen eye would have noted that I have blanked out what that export is, as I am now leaving it to you to guess. You see, Cambodia has just exported over $500 million of a product in just 7 months of this year. And the question that I pose to you is this: what is it that Cambodia has been making and then shipping all around the world? A clue there is in the word round. What could possibly be worth nearly $1 billion a year? Is it something to do with agriculture? Maybe it's a new strain of specialized rice. Or maybe it's a new rage in fashion. After all, Cambodia is very strong when it comes to the manufacture of garments. Or just maybe it's this: tyres. Yes, tyres made in Cambodia are making the world go round, and the numbers are just staggering. Not only did the kingdom sell $527 million worth of car tyres, what is even more remarkable is that is an increase of 173% compared with the same period as last year. And this is just the beginning, as the kingdom has 3 operational car tyre factories at current, and there are several more projects just waiting for approval. That means these tyre exports could reach into the billions very soon. At current, new factories are proposed at Karachi province with an investment of $430 million, and that would generate 2,000 jobs. Another is to be in Sfareng with an investment of $256 million. And there, that will generate another 1,500 jobs. And you're thinking that's a lot. Well, it ain't nothing, as where does all that rubber come from? Well, Cambodia has planted 407,000 hectares of rubber trees. So it's not just making the tyres themselves. This multi-billion-dollar business spreads wealth deep into the countryside, far beyond the factory walls. Tyres. Who would have guessed that? Well, certainly not I. It's time to have a look ahead and see what the weather has in store for us next week.
And here we are at the jolly old weather. Now, if your bingo card has rain across the board, then it's time for you to shout, "House!" because you're the winner. Now then, before we get to the weather, I'd like to tell you what I've been up to in my week. And this week, I discovered an ancient bridge in the jungle. It's rather good, isn't it? Here's a photo of me with said bridge. I was absolutely elated because it's what I do with my spare time. And whatever you're doing with your spare time, well, you need to wear some waterproof gear or at least carry an umbrella because, as I said, rain across the board. You ain't going to escape it this time. But we still have temperatures that are reaching up to 32 degrees.
This has been the Khmer Times News. Please do subscribe and comment and stay up to date with all the breaking news by following us on both Facebook and Telegram. This has been Paolo Bonini, and that was the week that was. I'll see you next weekend for your weekly Roundup.